and happy National Titans Day to you all. Welcome to the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Please do not forget to hit subscribe. So, Sunday, October 22nd, it is National Titans Day. I am your host, Clazzy Clare Cooper, as I am a little bit of a tight end enthusiast, as some of you may know. So, I thought I would celebrate today and put out something on the blog. So I'm looking to record a little show for you, and I've asked for your questions. So I would like to thank everybody who sent in their questions. I do appreciate it. If I don't get to all of them, I do apologise, but I do want to do a quick show. I'm not looking to kind of drag this out on your Sunday morning. So I just wanted you to come with me and celebrate National Titans Day. So before we kick off, don't forget to go over to Pat's Propaganda Prop Shop. Plenty of swag there, but you will get your I Like Titans and I Cannot Lie t-shirt, and do not forget to get your exclusive Titendage t-shirt as well. So head over there today and pick yourself up some swag. So we shall get started. As I said, thank you very much for all the questions. I'm going to try and get through them in some kind of order that links them, so apologies if I am a little bit here and there, but and referring to my notes, because I am solo today. As you probably guys are used to me with my co-host Chudders, but this is, on Pat's Procrastination, but this is my solo show because of a Titendage, and you know, it's Sunday and the guy needs a day off. Anyway, so I'll start with your questions. Joel from Hull, do you think the Pats should utilise an offensive lineman as an extra tight end, and who would you pick to perform this task? To be honest with you, Joel, the offensive line, as we all know, has been quite offensive. It hasn't been doing very well at the moment, so I don't think I would isolate a lineman. However, they have used Pharaoh Brown, the tight end, in 3 tight end sets. He's a big guy, he's a good blocker. So to be honest with you, my answer would be I wouldn't add an extra O-lineman in that tight endage section. I'd maybe utilise Pharaoh Brown a bit more than they have been at the moment. But I think the O-line itself is just a completely different topic, as I know we've discussed on many episodes of Pat's Procrastination, because it's just not been so great at the moment. But today we're celebrating tight ends, so that's kind of pushed to the side a little bit. But thank you very much for your question. I hope my answer to it was sufficient. Robert Brewster, a tight end you feel is overrated and a tight end you feel is underrated. And I have to say I quite enjoyed this one, because I know a lot of people aren't going to agree, and he had, to me, I feel like he didn't have the greatest of starts to his season, but when he came into the league, I felt he was overrated. I anticipated he may not reach the expectations that were put on him, and I do not mean that in a negative way, that I have anything against the player whatsoever. It was just from my opinion, my tight endage perspective, I thought that maybe Kyle Pitts was a bit overrated. He does seem to be picking it up now, so he may prove me completely wrong today, because you know, game day and everything. But Kyle Pitts was my overrated tight end, and I'm really sorry, I'm gonna have to do this, because my underrated tight end is, of course, one close to my heart, and that's Ryan Izzo, because I think a lot of people did underrate him, and I know that there's a collective like, oh no, because I can actually physically hear it. But still, Ryan Izzo, he's my underrated tight end, because I believe he could block better than people thought, and he didn't get as much of a chance as a pass catcher as I think he deserved. So I'm sorry, it's my show, National Titendage Day, celebrating it as an aficionado of the Titans, or an enthusiast of the Titans. So I'm going to go with Ryan Izzo there. Mike Debate of Locked On Patriots and of SI Patriots, with the Pats in need of a spark on offense, should they consider mixing in some looks for Pharaoh Brown in the 3 tight end sets? Well, kind of as I referred to in Joel's question, that's why I tried to bunch these up so that they sort of made more sense. And yeah, I agree that the one thing that was successful was Pharaoh Brown on the field, so I do believe that they should continue with that. With regards to sparks on offense, I just think this is a real collective thing that is just a bigger picture that we've all been talking about, or the Boston media have all been talking about recently, because of the losses that the Patriots have had. So for me, really, for that question, I just think that they should be utilising Pharaoh Brown more, because he's been successful. And now we've got Hunter questionable with injury, so it just seems to make more sense. Kev, aka NH Guna on Twitter, I guess I'm wondering why it seems like tight end usage and overall production is down in the NFL this season. Kelsey is a glorified wide receiver. I'm not going to deny that. Laporta is having a good season. I'm not going to deny that either. Hawkinson, Ingram is leading in receptions. Is TE going the way or the running back? I think he might mean is going the way of the running back, I believe. So apologies, Kev, if that's not what you meant. I don't think that the production is down. I know there's been a lot of injuries. I think that it feels like there's been a lot of injuries around the NFL anyway, but I think we say that every year. I know I seem to feel like I say that every year. The tight ends that may be succeeding, it maybe is migrating into more of a receiver type role. But I think the most successful tight ends that we've got, maybe at the moment, not just the Patriots, the NFL that we've got in the NFL in the sport, I believe maybe is the ones that can kind of do both. I feel like that's what's the most successful. Now, I'm just going to pause away from the questions here because I want to plug something that I feel is important, because the tight end position is a very physical, it's a very dominating position. And I know that there's lots moving away from the NFL being as aggressive. And it is something in regards to safety, and I appreciate that. And the sport itself is evolving and athletes are evolving. But I do think that the tight ends are still evolving into still very physical, but obviously quicker players. Now, in that case, I do want to, on this National Tight End Day, I do need to plug The Blood and Guts, How Tight Ends Say Football. Sorry, I had a bit of a brain with it. By Tyler Dunn. Now, this guy's on Twitter, and you probably have seen it because I've done a segment with this chap a couple of times, because he sent me this book and it is fantastic. And for those of you that do like the physicality of the sport, as I do, yes, as I have slightly shamefacedly admitted on the recent episode of A Clare Perspective, it encapsulates that sort of physicality, and this is really the position that does. And this book goes back over sort of a history, and it is so interesting. You don't have to be a Patriots fan, you don't even have to be a tight ends fan. It's just, if you're a fan of the sport, I just feel that this is a book that you may be seeking out, and particularly on this National Tight End Day. But Tyler champions that physicality, that brutality of the tight end position, that I think maybe is sort of how I fell in love with it in the first place. And I don't mean that to sound bad, but as you guys who've listened to my show, if you're new to the show, then hi, welcome. But you'll know that Gronk is my favourite tight end ever, and he's really what brought me to the sport and what made me fall in love with the sport. And he is the epitome of what a tight end should be. So yeah, so please do go seek that out. And I hope I answered your question, Boker. Andy Ellis, thank you very much for sending your question in. I think it's maybe the first one, so I was really happy to get it. Although there's not much of an answer that I can give because you answered it yourself. And who is your favourite non-tight end at tight end, and why is it Mike Vrabel? And yeah, my experience is semi-limited when it comes to the Patriots, and I don't believe that since I've been a Patriots fan they've really utilised that very much. But yeah, of course it's Mike Vrabel. Everybody's is Mike Vrabel, particularly as he's just been entered into the Patriots Hall of Fame. So celebrate him this weekend as well. So yes, of course it is Mike Vrabel. Moving swiftly along, tried to section it out to two different kind of topics in regard to into the tight end position. So John, which current tight end would you like to see play in Patriots colours, and do you think Hunter and Gesicki will both be Patriots next season? Just going to reverse it because I'm going to answer the second bit of the question first. And in regards to Hunter and Gesicki, I have no idea at this stage. They aren't under contract, as most people know. At the end of the 2023 season, Hunter and Gesicki, as it is now, will not have a contract with the Patriots. I, for one, do hope that they both get an extension. Now, they've both had injury, which is something that is typical of the tight end position, if not most of the sport nowadays. So, in regards to that, who knows? I know Gesicki hasn't been majorly productive. And to that end, I will throw a few stats at you, because it is National Tight End Day, so you do want some tight-ended stats. Unfortunately, Gesicki hasn't been utilised very much, I would say. He's had 20 targets for 15 receptions and 143 yards for no touchdowns, which isn't great. And yes, I know his blocking isn't quite up to the standard of Gronk, not that anybody's is, but he's a 49 in run block grade on PFF. Now, I think he's been trying quite hard to utilise that, and I think a lot of the problem goes back to the O-line. But again, we're not really talking about that today, so I'll just move swiftly on, throw a few more stats at you. I feel like he's versatile, but they're still trying to get the significant production from him. It almost feels a little bit getting him to click in the right place, maybe. He's had 5 snaps in the backfield, 38 in line, 131 in the slot, and 30 out wide. So slot receiver-ish. I mean, the guy's really fluid, and when he runs, you know, he's got being very tall, he's got a really long stride. And so although not as one of the fastest receivers, he's still got that ability to get out and get into space, that kind of thing. And the height, obviously, with the ability to catch a lot better in coverage. Sorry, apologies. It's Sunday morning still. Hunter, I went back to his 2021 stats, which were great because he had 74 targets for 50 receptions, 603 yards and 9 touchdowns, 0 drops. So yeah, the 2021 season for Hunter and Matt were quite good. Unfortunately, this season less so. 28 targets, 18 receptions, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 drops, unfortunately. And he's got a 52 run block grade on PFF. So now, do with that as you will. I only had PFF as my statistic provider, so I'm sure that if you go out there and really search, there will be some other and maybe even better statistics. I can only utilise what I've got, and bear in mind it's Sunday morning, so I'm only going to give you so much as it is. So that's the Patriots ones. So even looking at that, I still can't really tell you if they will be. Unfortunately, I don't have a line in to build to decide who's going to be the tight end. But I personally hope that Hunter and Gesicki get to stay. I believe a veteran presence is something that is really key. And I know someone's asked a question that I'll get to in a little while that sort of highlights the need or the necessity for that veteran presence that I feel that they have been lacking for quite a few years now. And they've been trying to very hit and miss in regards to that. John, to answer the first bit of your question, which current tight end would I like to see in Patriots colours? I think for me, it's one of these head heart things for me. But I think if you're looking at sort of young and for the future, if that's kind of where you're going with that question, it's got to be Sam Laporta, who the Detroit Lions took. And I don't know if any of you guys remember, but he was a bit of my draft crusher. I had quite a few this year because there was quite a few tight ends. I mean, come on, let's be fair. But Sam Laporta, I did have high hopes for, and he does seem to be doing really well over at Detroit. So yes, I am very envious of Detroit fans. Jesse, okay. Trader Bill says you will get any tight end in the league, anyone. Who do you choose and what do they do so well that makes you want them? This was the point with the head versus heart as well, because your head would say Travis Kelce because he's one of the most productive, or George Kittle because he's one of the most productive. If I'm saying it from my heart, then it's going to be one that is more who I really like, obviously, and who I may have just mentioned, so I have sort of a bit of a spoiler alert there. But he also is someone who's young because he's only been drafted recently, like last year recently, sorry. So he's one of the tight ends for the future. You know, he's building the future. With all due respect to Kelce and Kittle, they are getting older now. So, you know, and they are getting injured now, as all tight ends do. So the future that we've got with them may be limited. I know, again, people would be crying, oh no, we still have Kelce because he's so productive. I fully appreciate that, but for me, it would be Sam Laporta. It might have been Pat Freiermuth, but he really hasn't been as productive. He is maybe more of a blocking tight end than Laporta, but I still think Laporta's been doing well. So yeah, for me, I'm sorry, I think I've got a bit of a outright favourite for this season, and it's Sam Laporta. Angel, is there a tight end prospect that tickles your fancy in the 2024 draft? And as was mentioned on A Clare Perspective recently by Mike Dussault, the Patriots do not have any signed at the moment. As I kind of mentioned earlier, and thank you, Angel, for mentioning, yes, Mike Dussault was on the recent episode 76 of A Clare Perspective, a Patriots podcast, brought to you by fullpresscoverage.com. Please do not forget to go and check that out. But yeah, quite rightly, he said that, as was mentioned by John, Hunter and Gesicki aren't signed for the 2024 season. So it's too early for me personally. It's too early to say. I don't get much opportunity to watch college football anyway. I have seen bits and pieces. Brock Bowers, because he seems kind of like the obvious one, but he is injured at the moment. I believe he's undergoing surgery, or he's potentially going to be undergoing surgery, so that's not great. But hopefully, like, if he gets drafted next year, then, you know, things will come good. Cade Stover of Ohio. Now, I was told to watch him by Alex Barth. I haven't had the opportunity yet, but he's one on my post-it notes. As any of you might know, I've got a bit of a wall with who to watch when it comes to tight ends. So there's a post-it note over there with Cade Stover on of Ohio. So I will be watching him when it comes to more draft prep, when you get the draft guides come out and stuff like that, and when people really start to deep dive with film. That is when I do my tight endage thing. That's when I really look at who I'm hoping for the Patriots. It's much more around draft time. However, I did notice Jared Wiley of TCU. He did catch my eye recently. So there's several names that I'm keeping an eye on. Whether or not they would be successful next season, whether or not they're actually guys that I would look at when it comes to draft time, I'm not sure. check back me after I've done my draft prep beginning before next season, and I will give you more definites. But those are names that I've been sort of having a look at and have been told to keep my eye on. Miguel says, how would you handle the tight end position in 2024? Well, this is why I wanted to end on this one, because it encapsulates a lot of what I've already said. So apologies if you feel I've repeated myself, but it is the maintaining veteran presence. There's something that seems to have gone wrong. A lot has gone wrong recently for the Patriots, unfortunately. But over the past few years is that balance of veteran presence, skill set, and youth, and looking at the future, looking at the Titans for the future. And unfortunately, they addressed it possibly in the draft 3 years ago, with Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene. And as we all know, that did not work out so well at all. So yeah, it's something that was addressed and unsuccessful. So I think it's something that's very key, particularly for me as a tight end fan, because I know that I'm that little bit biased, but this is one of the reasons why I said earlier, to keep Gesicki and Hunter. I feel that it needs that veteran presence maintaining, particularly Hunter, because of his real integration into the team and with Mac Jones. Now, if you're looking at a different quarterback, you're looking at a very different situation. But I still think veteran presence in the team, regardless of who the quarterback is, regardless of if that bond has been created, is still something that's necessary. I would like to see more out of Gesicki. I don't believe they've utilised him enough this year. Now, that might be something that they're like, well, he's not, he isn't working very well. This is something that, as an outsider, as a fan, as a watcher, I wouldn't be able to really ascertain. So for me, I hope it's just one of those, just momentum needs to be gathered. But I was really excited when they signed him, so I'd just like to see more of him. So for me, it feels like I'd want to see him next year, because I think there's more that they can get out of him. And Hunter is that real stability, and he's really productive. So it kind of feels like an obvious choice. And the draft, they need to draft some positions that help for the future. And it isn't just tight ends, as has been discussed recently. This is something that is key future-wide, really, for the Patriots. He's drafting at those key positions that are a weakness. And I just believe that they missed out on it this year, that was a really good tight end draft, and they didn't feel it was necessary, and that's fine. Unfortunately, Sam Laporta looks amazing, but anyway, there's lots of others that look great. Jake Ferguson, from the Cowboys, he was another one that was on my list. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit at the moment, because there's all these tight ends that we could have had, but hopefully the 2024 draft, they look at addressing that, as it feels like it's a need of something to build that future. But there are a lot of positions that the Patriots need to build that future. So we shall see in regard to that. Well, that is it for all the questions. So thank you very much, everyone that sent in the questions. I hope I did get to everybody's. There's been a bit of a glitchiness on Twitter/X at the moment, so I really hope I didn't miss anybody's. If you did send it in and I did, I sincerely apologise. And if you want me to still answer them, please try and send it over to @PatsPropaganda on the Twitter/X, and hopefully I can answer it in maybe the next episode of Pat's Procrastination at the end. So on that note, quickly, whilst I remember, there will be an episode of Pat's Procrastination. I believe it is episode 7. Yep, on Monday the 23rd. So tomorrow, if you are watching this today on Sunday the 22nd, but yeah, Monday the 23rd will be episode 27 of Pat's Procrastination with myself and Chudders for patspropaganda.com. As I said, please do not forget to subscribe to the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel, so you don't miss any of these special episodes or any episode of Pat's Procrastination. So, bit of a product plug. Don't forget to get your I Like Tight Ends and I Cannot Lie t-shirts. Don't forget to get your tight endage t-shirts, especially for today. Just get your exclusive designs, by the way, on patspropaganda.com. And also, just to plug my friend's book again, Tyler Dunn. He did this. This is a really interesting read. Even if you're not a big tight end fan, it's, for me, who is still learning and evolving with their knowledge around the NFL, it just felt like an information sort of, I was going to say Bible, but I'll say textbook, because that's probably, much more realistic. But it's such an interesting read, so I really do hope that you, if you haven't already got your copy, that you do go over and get your copy of that. Treat yourself. It's National Tight Endage Day, so celebrate and buy yourself something lovely. So I hope that you have enjoyed this little random crazy episode to celebrate National Tight Ends Day. I hope you have a fantastic Sunday. We hope for a win this evening as I'm recording this for the Patriots. But as we always say, tune in next time and go Pats.